The Queens of Spice podcast is created for adult audiences only. Our show contains cursing, vulgar content, dark humor, descriptions of sexual acts and desires, and is not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Some episodes also contain themes which may be triggering for listeners. Please take care of yourself. I want to get bookended this weekend. Welcome to the Queen's Spice Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ragachu. I'm here with my two BFFs, Jack and Ash. Hi, guys.
Hi. Hello, Rachel.
I am so excited to be here today. We are reading Morning Glory Milking Farm by C.M. Nascosta. And this book is the first one of a series. It's called the Monster Bait series.
Monster Bait.
It's based in Cambric Creek, which is like kind of a universe portion that she's sussed out for this. There's a whole slew of books. Like she has novellas and other content and stuff that like relate back to this place in particular.
Oh, okay.
There's four books in total.
There's 4 books on the docket so far.
There's 4 books out. There's 3 books and a novella out so far.
That's right. Yeah, because like the 4th book is announced, I think, for January maybe, or it's next year. It's 2024, whatever it is. I think so.
I think it has to do with the witch.
So you mean this month, Rachel?
Oh, yeah, it's January. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate that. So Violet is a typical down-on-her-luck millennial. Mid-20s, overeducated and drowning in debt, on the verge of moving into her parents' basement, when a lifeline appears in the form of a very unconventional job in neighboring Cambric Creek. She has no choice but to grab it with both hands. Morning Glory Farm offers full-time hours, full benefits, and a generous pay with no experience needed. There's only one catch. The clientele is grade A certified prime beef with the manly, meaty endowments to match. Hands-on work with Minotaurs isn't something Violet ever considered as a career option, but she's determined to turn the opportunity into a reversal of fortune. When a stern, deep-voiced client begins to specifically request her for his sessions at the farm, maintaining her professionalism and keeping him out of her dreams is easier said than done. Violet is resolved to make a dent in her student loans and afford name-brand orange juice, as a one-sided crush on an out-of-her-league Minotaur is not part of her plan. Unless her feelings aren't so one-sided after all. So, welcome to Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Who picked this book?
I did! It was me! Surprise!
Oh my God, I bet you the cum is some weird thing.
Okay,
Books.
Yeah, like cum feeding. Can I say the thing that drove me fucking nuts about this now?
I don't know, doesn't it have context? Like, should I wait until we go through the story? Like, is there something specific, like...
It is very specific.
Oh, okay. Let's go through the story, and when it comes up in the story, tell me. How about that?
Okay.
You can yell it through the fucking roof. I don't care. Okay. So, Violet. We start with the book. Again, summary nails it. She's like...
And that's the episode. Any questions, Jacqueline?
And the summary is the whole episode. Goodbye.
Just read the summaries.
So she just finished grad school. She lives in the city. And she cannot get a job in her field. Surprise.
Oh, is she a graphic designer?
I am very well employed. Thank you. No, she...
An accountant?
She has her undergrad... Call out hour. She has her undergrad in like 18th, 19th century Western architecture, which is so specific. So basically like art history, more or less. And then her masters are in nonprofit management, which is insane.
Oh, that combination is like one job.
Seriously. Like and so this is the problem. Is like she cannot get a job. It's like, yeah, no fucking shit. Like it's so specific.
You pigeonholed yourself, bitch.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. She can get like volunteer positions and like part-time jobs and stuff, but like a full-time like long-term position is just not a thing she can get.
She has to wait for that one CEO to die.
Exactly. And it's such a millennial problem to have, because like I know so many people that are in that boat.
Waiting for people to die.
Aren't we all?
Like in first-person shooter games.
Throwback. So her mother is like an anxiously attached mother, like helicopter parent almost.
She wants her to move home.
She wants her to move home because she's like, oh, you can move home and like work at the library or whatever the hell. And we have a space above the garage and you can stay there. And
you can date this guy and have all the babies.
This guy you had a crush on in high school just moved home too. And you can like you know, go
Because you're
go to
millennials
coffee
together.
God, anyway. I also love this thing when people's like, you're single, this person's single, you should date. It's like, what? Why is that the criteria? You just
Your
to be
moms
single.
know each other.
Right? Like, it's such a fucking
Your
thing.
mom's dead and your mom's dead. You should be friends.
Are we calling out the orphan again?
Oh.
We do that
Only
a lot.
one of us has a dead mom here.
True.
It's
Jesus.
me.
Surprise. So
Spicy.
she's looking at the job banks and she comes across this job that's like no experience necessary, pays very good, has like dental even.
She's looking at the job bank and she ends up with a job at the sperm bank.
So in this universe, it's like a human, normal, everyday universe, but there's also monsters that live here.
It's similar to
Entire neighborhoods, if I read my notes correctly.
Correct, like a suburb even,
yeah,
which is Camber
it's similar
Creek.
to Monsters and Muscles Monsters.
That's right. Except Muscles and Monsters, the only thing there was that they were integrated like several years before.
Yeah.
Like it was like a thing that just kind of happened. This is like always been the case.
Yeah.
It's just that monsters aren't as prevalent as like there's whole human communities. And so there are also a whole monster communities. And then some monsters are more cliquey, as in like they stayed together as species, but then Camber Creek is a good example where they kind of intermingle and it's like
It has the same kind of like monsters intermingling as with humans vibe. I guess is what I'm getting at
Yeah.
for Jack to understand. Like,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
dynamic.
Yeah, whereas like they just, you know, there's houses that are built specifically for some creatures. They're like larger with bigger frames and that kind of stuff. And the cabinets are taller and that kind of shit.
It reminded me of that Disney movie Onward
Oh, I've never seen that. That's a newer-ish
with
couple of years.
like Chris Tithead and
Sorry, who?
oh, the one that I don't like.
Pratt.
Yeah,
Fair.
and Tom
Tithead. Is that what you said?
Colin.
Holland. Yeah, not Tom Tithead. Tom's
See,
good.
knowing people.
Chris Pratt's an idiot.
Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway, that they had like houses and stuff like that like match the Minotaurs, or like cars that match the Centaur. Anyway, it was.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely what's going on here. But like, there's kind of an archetype even because one of the main male characters, his neighbor's an elf.
Yeah.
And she's not tall. She's like 5 foot nothing. But she, like, her partner's an orc. And so he's like 7 feet tall. And they live in a house together. And it's very funny because she has to have a step stool in every fucking room. So,
Elves' bodies expand
yes.
vaginally to accommodate for their partners.
Oh,
But
like
it's a
when
thing-
babies come out, but the reverse.
Yeah, reverse baby maker.
Correct. And it's interesting too because like you get a little bit of the dynamic of how certain creature like race groups deal with each other, and so like the elves tend to stay with elves, and so for her to date an orc is like really out of the realm of normality.
Right.
And so like it's very interesting to see, and a lot of monsters don't date humans, so there's like this weird faux pas in their like whole community where that's not a thing that happens typically. Anyway, so she gets this job at this farm, and she does hoe and hum and go back and forth about like, should I take this job?
She
This is-
hoes
I
already.
was
Well,
just gonna say.
anyway, all right. And she
None of those cheap jokes. Come on.
come on, take this serious, Ash. No,
Oh yes, yes.
So she ends up, she's like, I don't, because I think one of my notes here, it says, milking minotaurs is better than moving home to your parents' garage loft in a small town. And I fucking agree.
Yeah, Rachel strongly agrees. This is one of those like when you're doing the quizzes, Rachel clicks strongly agree.
This is it. I'm like a 10 on this one.
I'm
Where it's
always
like,
like neutral.
yeah. No, I have strong feelings about living in small towns. So I love that this is her mentality where she's like, I'm just going to milk minotaurs instead. And so she's like,
she doesn't want to scrapbook with her mom.
she does not.
Camber Creek's not a city though.
It's a
Is it?
suburb of the city.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't see Rachel living in a suburb though.
Oh god, no! I kind of lived in a suburb before. It was not my jam.
I know.
Yeah, it was not my thing. I was not
I
into
know.
it. I was like, I felt so isolated. It was weird.
Now if she got to milk Minotaurs while she lived there, she'd
However,
probably...
different story. If they want to pay dental, fuck yeah, maybe. So
Rachel's just wants the dick.
Just wants
she's
the
making
D.
it sound like she's in it for the dental. Really? She just wants her
The
hands
other
on that
kind of
meaty cock.
D.
How big are your hands, Rachel? That's really the big
Oh,
question.
I mean-
Other kind of D.
they're like, I would say normal size. Like I don't have like
Too big.
Very. Oh, they might be for him. For him, they might be. Okay, so she gets a job at this milking farm. So in this universe, Jack, I wrote in your notes specifically. Her training technician, who is called Kareem, And I think she's a moth person kind of thing, or
I think
insect
it's
person.
Kirame.
Oh, because you listened to the audiobook.
It was
Okay,
Kirame
wonderful.
in the
Thank you.
books. Or in the audio.
And so she's kind of like, this is because a lot of people, humans especially, have hangups about sex work.
I
And
did
this-
like that point.
And this is not sex work at all. It might read that way for some of the Minotaurs, specifically because there's like some fetish based people that come
good
in.
little cows.
The good little cows. We'll get into that. And Jacqueline's making. I can just see her moving.
Those are just my eyes.
I just look like this.
And but this is not like, there's nothing sexual about this job. And in the further into this, what's up, Jack?
I'm sorry.
Are you?
Yes.
So, and so on Jack's sheet specifically, I was like, this is kind of akin to donating blood or collecting plasma, that kind of stuff. So it's more along that. And in this universe too, Minotaur semen specifically is made for making Viagra. So it's kind of like it's a pharmaceutical company that she works for, and they do collection of these materials to use in pharmaceutical products.
I enjoyed when you get into it and he's having the conversation with her about like the whys of it. Like, we create it, you guys are basically the ones that monetize.
They
us.
commodify it. Yeah.
Yeah. So because some of these guys have like, one of them is like, I have a kid going off to university. Here, take my. How much liquid do you have in that glass, Jack?
So we got Jack to measure out 3 cups of liquid, which is 24 fluid ounces in a measuring cup. I'll post that on social later. Ash took a great picture. So she's going to drink that over the course of. She's going to drink that over the course of the recording. It's a lot.
Is she?
It's a lot.
Yes, she is.
You're going to pee so much after that. So
just keep in mind that Violet deals with that regularly.
So one full container in this instance, because there's a whole process to go through. I'm not going to go through the nuance of this. But she collects 24 fluid ounces typically is what like they call them earners, what the earners
Per like sesh.
per sesh. Yeah.
Some of them get more, and like they're shaped like milk bottles.
Yeah, they are. They really leaned into the milking farm thing.
Yes,
It's very funny.
They have
Like the collection devices.
Yeah.
yeah, and like they
Because
have.
it's basically, I mean, I'll go over it quickly. It's basically a machine that collects the semen, and the thing they have to like,
masturbate
the cow into the cow. Jesus, masturbate the
bull.
Minotaur bull into this machine, and then there's like almost like a pocket pussy situation where they like put the suction on the machine and it sucks it out.
She gets them going.
Yeah, she warms them up.
Like warms them up real good, and then when they want to push them over, it's essentially like a milking device that they put on there, and they use that. And then while she does that, she can like toy with his balls, and then
Automated device.
Yeah, it's like a sucky thing.
Okay.
Because it's all like very sterile environment. She's like masked up and like has scrubs and stuff. Like it's a pharmaceutical company.
And
so
yet
like
some of her scrubs could possibly look like milking maid outfits.
okay, so some of the clients
They gotta get all hot. And stuff,
so some of the clients.
There are 3 types of clients.
There's a number of clients. There's the earners,
The clock watchers.
the clock watchers, the pop and goes, and the good little cows.
Oh, I forgot about the pop and goes.
Yeah, the pop and goes are like they're indifferent. They're like first timers usually. They like don't have their shit together. They're very nervous. Whatever. They just like sometimes they
go.
don't even know when they're gonna come. Like it's a whole thing. And then the clock watchers, they just want to get in and out as quick as possible.
And Rourke.
That's what I thought the pop and go was gonna be like, just like in and out.
Pop
No,
in and
it's
go.
more of like they're not prepared. Like yeah.
No, those are
They,
the clock
well,
watchers.
a lot of them is like they blow their load too quickly, sort of thing.
Right.
Like it's not planned.
Yeah, it's in a
Yeah.
quote, bad way.
And the earners are the ones that are like they're there for the money. Like they know they can account for every single drop of semen. They like have specialized diets and stuff to like curtail these things. And then there's the good little cows who enjoy the fetish of being milked. And when you get a good little cow come through, they sometimes like they'll request a certain outfit for you to wear.
Okay.
And they accommodate those. They're like far and few between. Like it's not a thing that happens all the time.
I didn't super like that part though, because like to me it would be like somebody coming in and asking me to wear a specific outfit. Like if you have a job that is specifically like this is supposed to be I mean, I know it's a book. Okay, I get that. But like, if you have a job that you're trying to say is like, this is not sexual.
Don't make it sexual.
Don't make it
No,
sexual.
I agree.
And that like that part bugged me. So like if somebody came in and was
Was
like,
that the part that bugged you?
no.
Oh, okay. Damn.
No.
That did bug me too. Anyway, I'm waiting with bated breath. I can't wait till I get there.
You're going to be like, really? Yes.
But no, I agree. I thought that was very, it was like, it was such a weird off-putting thing in that regard, because they spend a lot of time, like Nascosta spends a lot of time going through this book, making it not sound like sex work at all.
Yes.
And for it to I really enjoyed that. And it's like, and for it to flip flop like that in several rare incidences, even, I was just like, and I get it, because I'm like, obviously that's going to be a thing, like just because of the nature of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so I understand that, but the fact that it like has its own name and it's accepted and that kind of stuff was like, eh.
And I get that too, to a point, like when you have that dynamic and like the inside joke of the whatever, but it just, and in all honesty, it was the same thing with like the relationship that develops, again, because that is something that within my industry, not that I'm jerking people off obviously, but like,
no, but it's an intimate kind of situation.
Yeah. Like arguably massage is the most intimate you can be with somebody without being sexual. And there is a very like severe line that you draw. Now I do know people who have dated clients. I know people who've married clients, but it is a very big thing that they draw into our heads in school. Like, you do not cross that line, and there are certain protocols and stuff like that. So from my headspace, reading or listening, whatever, I was like, okay. And so as, you know, I will go into the rest of it, but like as certain things progressed, I was like, okay, but like what's going to happen to this other side of things? It's like, oh no, this is going to stay the same. I was like, but really? Like,
so, so after when she's done her training kind of officially, the first client she has is he's a Minotaur. This is the first time she's like handling a Minotaur cock even, and she works him down and does the thing and whatever, and away she goes and plays with his balls, and he has a great time. Everyone's happy. And then he goes off and whatever and leaves her, because they leave tips. Questionable.
I get tips.
Yeah, I know. I'm always like, I don't know.
Like even the earner leaves the tip.
Not everybody. Like,
but it's not just the good little boy ones.
No, they do generally tip, and so like
the good little cows, I think, tip more.
Typically, yes. Yeah. And so when you get one of those, you're like, oh, cool, gonna get extra money. I should say too, that is a very one-sided situation, obviously, because like again, not sexual, especially for the techs.
Yeah.
And so like, they turn it into a joke for sure. Especially during the training things, they're like, ha, you get the shitty one today. Like, just like, it's kind of a big joke. It's not.
And I know I'm taking it way more seriously.
No,
than
I agree though, because it was very weird kind of situation.
To me, it was it's unsafe.
Yeah.
Like, is what like, and again, taking it way too seriously and applying my own existence to it, but like it creates an unsafe dynamic, and that's why I think that was one of the areas that I was like,
Yeah. And honestly, like, it was one of the I can't wait to hear what you have to say, but it was one of the few parts of the book that I was just like because well, the book is kind of weird and whatever, but I'm like, it's also kind of cute and wholesome. Hi, Jack, you have your hand up.
Yes, I do.
What's up?
So my thought is, wouldn't we rather, for things like safety purposes, have it out in the open like that?
Oh, as opposed to like closet?
As opposed to like people kind of like forcing it when they're in the room. Like, don't you want to, like,
I see what you mean.
This guy has to sign up as, like, he wants a special outfit or whatever. So
here's what I'll say about it is that, especially in this instance, and I think this is how they frame it and the author kind of gets away with it a bit, is that specifically this is a pharmaceutical company. And the pharmaceutical company, and Rorik even mentions this, who's their main character, we're going to talk about it shortly. He makes mention to Violet that this company treats their clientele very well. And so potentially other places wouldn't let that fly or wouldn't regulate that to a point. And so I have to wonder if there is a point in this where it's like the pharmaceutical company will do whatever to keep those people happy.
Okay. And again, this comes back to the dangerous environment. when you were put in a position where it's just like, oh, well, this is for the client, this make the client happy, blah, 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 blah. At what point is your bodily autonomy
Where's the line?
Yeah, not important in that? And like, how do you know that that person stands behind you, right? Like, I obviously don't masturbate people.
No.
But I do treat areas like inner groin work, and we all know that I've had experiences that are less than stellar. And I know if I was put in that position in one environment that I have worked in, I would have walked out of there and been I would have been supported. I would have been like, you know, people would have been like, no, that's not okay. We're going to deal with this, instead of the situation which I had, in which case they're like, well, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to do it, but it's like a viable treatment. It's like, no, it's masturbation.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they said it was a viable treatment
for erectile dysfunction. And so again, I know I'm taking this way more seriously than it needs to be taken, because it is a fucking novella-sized book about milking minotaurs. But again, I'm taking these
But that's that's the connection. Yeah.
Right? And these are the things. And again, this is still not the thing that I said I took issue with. It's just like minor things. But like, and obviously you can't compare like masturbating a minotaur to massaging a human. But like,
can't we though?
I mean, you could, I guess.
Do whatever you want.
I got some pretty big clients, but size-wise, not penises. Don't know about my clients' penises.
Are they single?
The ones with the big dicks, are they single?
Anyway, it creates a situation where like people aren't gonna want to work there, and so you have. I find it interesting because you have to be really careful with the. Yes, they treat their earners, and they have all that swag and all that stuff, but
They have tiers.
Yeah,
membership tiers.
But if you don't treat your employees well, and you don't make them feel safe, so I mean, maybe another place wouldn't allow the good little cows, or maybe they would just be like, hey, whatever, and like,
It would probably be worse.
I would say worse,
and that's the way that's the way the author frames it in this book specifically, is that this is like the best of the best, like pharmaceutical companies to do this at, sort of thing, and they treat everybody really well. And believe me, that was like a weird off-putting kind of thing. I was like, oh God, okay, like I see how you're trying to frame this and all this stuff, but I'm like, that's a weird one.
And like I said, I will continue to say this. I know I am putting way too much stock in a novella about masturbating minotaurs. It's just there's a few correlations there, particularly where I have had Buddy whip his dick out on me. Like,
damn, Buddy, why would you do that?
Please note, Buddy is not a real name. Buddy is just what we call guys over here on the East Coast.
So
Buddy the elf.
Jesus. So this is the first.
Bye, Buddy. Hope you find your dad.
So the first client she has is a guy named Rourke, and he tips her like $100, which is a lot. Rourke, yeah. And so she, at this point too, is like very much broke, very much in debt. Credit cards are getting maxed.
Can't buy
coffee.
Can't buy
name brand orange juice.
Juice.
Right.
And so like the tips are what she's getting by on. And so when she like,
I don't like that we have to. Can we say gratuities?
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Just the tips.
She definitely can't take more than the tip.
So she, carries on, whatever. She does very well at her job.
But she doesn't know his name is Rourke yet.
No, she does not know who he is. She has like initials, I think.
Yes. That's how like people sign in or
well,
whatever.
so they have like identification numbers, and it's like R something and then a big long number. And so those are his two initials.
But she knows his astrological sign,
Yeah.
and she like starts
Based
looking into like their compatibility.
Okay. So let's backtrack for a second.
Love it.
So she gets low-key obsessed with him, and like that night she goes home and like masturbates to the thought of him and his dick, especially
because he starts to request her.
Do they see like the guy?
Yes.
Or is it like just his dick?
There's a milking bench.
So it's like a bench they run into basically, and so like he's sitting up there on a bench, and it's like elevated above the technician, and so she sees him kind of.
Okay.
And they have conversation like down the road. They end up having conversations, not so much like early on. But she is like fully covered, like masked and scrubs and hairnet and all that stuff. So like
in case he blows.
Well, I mean, it's also a
Any of them
sterile
blows.
environment. So they don't want hair and shit getting into semen samples. Like, it's not a thing
Well,
they
yeah,
want.
there's that, and they also don't want her to get fucking cannon blasted by semen.
Which she did on one occasion. She does.
Yeah,
But
it is a thing that happens.
that's one of the pop
Does
goes.
it happen to be 3 cups?
Very well could be, actually. That's apparently 24 fluid ounces is the norm. How's your drink over there? You're going through it.
She took a fucking dent out of it.
Yeah, if you heard like smashing noises, that's just me like
Oh, putting your cup down.
putting my cup down and
Yep.
refilling and shit.
She's gonna have it gone by the time this episode.
Oh yeah, totally, easily. It's a
I
lot.
thought that was what I was supposed to do.
You get that
Yeah.
24 fluid ounces down,
Violet
baby.
too. Don't worry.
Yeah, she gonna. So so she starts like really fantasizing about this guy, and like when you have a crush on somebody too, she's like filling in all these gaps about who he might be, and like those kind of things, and like even what his name is.
I was just gonna say because she only knows the initials.
So she's looking up like common Minotaur names.
And, yeah, she looks up common like names for minotaurs, and you mentioned the astrological sign thing to see if they're compatible.
It's so wholesome.
What?
It's very cute.
What
'cause
are
he's a
they?
Sagittarius.
Okay.
And she is
A Taurus? No.
a Taurus. I think so. I don't think they say it, but they say her sign is represented by the bull, which is Taurus. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure she's Taurus. Anyway, and so there's these little quips in amongst all of it about like, you know, keep your Sagittarius like happy by doing these things. Like, do you know what I mean? So every so often, like, because and Jacqueline, you'll appreciate that she's a fucking nerd, and I mean that in a sense that like she goes to school and she learns a thing and she does it very well. And she like studies her manual and she learns the job and she does it efficiently and perfectly every time. And when she's training somebody else and they don't reference the cleaning sheets and they don't do those things, she gets like OCD about it. And she's like, but you didn't reference the thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not doing it right. Like, and so I thought you would really appreciate that. Her method of like learning, repeating, and then perfecting.
I do.
'Cause I know how
like
much you
that.
love that
you
kind
would
of
feel
thing.
represented
Yeah.
by the woman milking the Minotaur.
100%.
Amazing.
So
What's her name?
Violet.
Violet.
So they and she goes down through like her day-to-day stuff, and she is exploring Cambric Creek specifically a lot more to like kind of and she goes to like the farmers markets and like little coffee shops and stuff. And then at one point Rorik mentioned, I think the second time she's in or third time she's in, or he's in rather.
Oh, the
Sorry.
So
not
I think
in her.
I know.
So I think like the second or third time that he is in, she mentions about getting coffee at this horrible, awful coffee place. And he's like, you have to go to this coffee place. Like, don't go to that shitty coffee place. This is the place they roast their own beans. It's like, it's monster owned, whatever. Like, go to this coffee place. So eventually she does go to this coffee place. And
She meets her bestie.
oh my God, she gets like, it's like a honeycomb latte.
Yep.
It's like, it sounds so good. I want to try that.
But do you think it has like honeycomb?
It has honeycomb
on
in
top?
it. No, there's like pieces in it or something. Anyway, it
Okay.
sounds amazing.
Rachel wants the honeycomb latte, and then she wants to get dicked down by the bull man.
Yeah, this book is like my fantasy. It's fine. She also has this is where she meets her bestie, who's a vampire,
Galus.
which is amazing. So you ever hear that thing, Jack, where like if you're in public and like somebody's like creeping on you, whatever, you grab another woman generally, and you're best friends.
Like there you are.
This is exactly what happens.
Or sometimes
So-
you can do it with like a mom and daughter sort of
Yes.
situation too.
Yeah, so Gilly scoops Violet over to her table and sits down and starts talking about this entire thing. And Violet's like enamored. She's like, I have no idea who this person is, but like, I am so invested in this story right now. Like, what is going on? And she's going on and on and on. And then whoever was bothering Gilly leaves. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, this guy was a creep from work and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, no problem. And they like instantly become best friends.
Oh.
It's wonderful. And they like hang out and do stuff together. And so like,
Galus.
yeah, and so she's a vampire, which is wild.
Is that what you're saying?
Galus.
Yeah, she goes by
Galus.
Gilly. And she's very British, and she's like a pop punk, or she's like a punk from like British punk era, basically.
Like 80s, like
Yeah.
grunge character.
She's very cool. And she works at the it's a vampire restaurant.
Yes.
Where the only menu item is blood, but it's like in a bunch of served in a bunch of different ways.
Oh my gosh.
They do
Yeah,
have a
it's
human
crazy.
menu too.
They do because
Because sometimes vampires date humans. Good for them.
so she goes one of the times she goes to this coffee place to go get her delicious latte. There's a voice. She hears a voice behind her, and she's like, "Oh, I totally recognize that voice."
Creams or panties? Oh, I just shoved my face in that.
You almost creamed your panties all over that mic.
I almost licked it.
Just like Rorik's huge Minotaur cock.
Nope.
So he's on the phone talking to somebody. And he's standing behind her in line. He realizes it's her. And then he starts talking.
Oh, okay.
It's Rorik. Yeah. And so this is where you learn his name.
Totally
because
forgot
because
the
the
whole story for a sec.
Ashton just ranted about the correlation between her work and not, and that's it. That's what the story's about.
and end scene.
Yep.
And so he like is talking to the barista because he knows them. Like they're all monsters, small community.
Goes there every day.
Goes there every single day and orders his beverage and pays for hers as well. And so they're standing down at the end of the bar and they call out the like, you know, whatever. It was like a black coffee or something for Rorik. And she's like, oh, your name's Rorik. She's like, my name's Violet. Like
Red Eye, I think it was, or something.
that sounds right. I can't believe you remember that.
That was his drink?
Yeah. Is that what you're mad about? Is it the red eye?
Is that like espresso?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a triple espresso or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so they have a little chit chat and whatever, and then go on their merry way.
She thinks that he's with somebody because the barista asks him about somebody coming to a party.
Lucille, Laurel.
L'Oreal.
Yeah.
L'Oreal.
Oh, L'Oreal. You're probably right.
L'Oreal.
Who? I mean, you find out later that's his neighbor.
Yeah. So she makes him think that she is also on a date
Because and
because she's meeting Galus.
that's right.
So usually he picks up coffee for his neighbor.
No,
The
it was
barista
just
was wondering?
the barista was inviting him to an event.
Oh.
And he's
Like,
like,
are you
oh
coming to
yeah,
this
are you
block
coming?
party?
Are you and so coming?
I
Which is his
see.
neighbor. Anyway, and then she made it sound like she was on a date with somebody else who ends
Yeah.
up being Gilly. And I should say too at this point, because he wears a hoop in his septum,
Okay.
like as a.
I did like that.
Yeah, I thought that was great, but in Minotaur culture,
Oh, I get it now.
in Minotaur
Sorry.
culture, it's like a wedding ring, right?
It's like a branding.
It's a
Okay,
branding
yes.
sign. So it's a sign that you're married to somebody. And so she learns about this along the way as well. And so
Oh.
The
through
client.
another client, yeah, he's like talking about something on a phone, and she catches the end of it because again, she doesn't know a lot about other monster culture. Because she grew up in a small human town. Same, and all of us
Only Rachel knows lots about monsters.
far more than the average
She's
person.
preparing herself for when they come out of the woodwork.
someday. And so she's totally 100% jealous about this, about like, oh, he's married, but he's like hitting on me. But she's like, no, he was definitely flirting with me, but he's definitely married. So like that's kind of a weird whatever. And so like later in the day, she has him as a client because it's I think Fridays he ends up booking. Friday's the
Yes.
last spot. Her last.
He asks when her last appointment is, and he purposely books her last appointment on Fridays.
Yeah, so they like basically have time to chit chat, and she doesn't have to rush to get out and stuff like
They
that.
end their week together.
They do, and it's an ongoing thing. And so anyway, they have like a bit of a spat,
Oh.
and because and it's mostly like I would say elevated emotions because they both think each other are in relationships with other
Right.
people.
But
And
she
that-
didn't know that was him, right? He only knew it was her.
No, she knew it was him because the voice. She recognizes his deep voice.
And he told her that she should go to this
Yeah.
coffee shop.
Right.
Anyway, so they knew who they were,
Oh, okay.
and so this is why they're playing this little like kind of jealousy thing.
Right.
And so they have like a very kind of terse conversation, and then it comes out that he's divorced and has never had never gotten around to taking
He
the ring
just
out.
can't get it out.
Well, it's very painful for them to do, and so he just like hasn't done it yet.
Oh.
And then he mentions that the person she was referencing, the barista was referencing, was his neighbor. And then the other one's like, oh, I was out with my vampire friend Gilly, who's a friend. And he's like, oh, you weren't actually on a date? She's like, no, I was just like hanging out with my friend Gilly.
And then he was like,
And
why
then
do
they-
they
so
even
they-
go? Because they don't drink coffee.
yeah, she sits there with an Earl Grey tea and smells
Likes
it.
to smell it.
And like absorb it, which I love. That's such a thing.
That's fun.
It's funny because actually there's a comic I read called Questionable Content, and there's AIs in it, like kind of like artificial robot dudes, and they go to a coffee shop, and when they breathe in a certain amount of tea, they like have hallucinations almost, like it's like a dream. And so they sit there and like the tea, and they like have a full movie going in their head when they're sniffing this tea. It's really cute.
That is cute.
I love it. It's a nice little mechanic in the comic. Anyway.
Jacqueline's getting a good dent.
She's getting through there. Oh my gosh, you're down to like 20 ounces. Or sorry, you're down to 4 ounces. You've drank
That's like
20.
a ball spurt.
That's like the pre-cum. Just the tip.
Just the tip.
So they end up like kind of developing this little relationship, and he asks her on a date, like to get coffee or whatever, and they go on a coffee date, and it's quite lovely and wholesome, and they have a great time. And then he asks her out for dinner, and they go out for dinner, and then they develop this relationship. And the thing is that he is specifically taking her on dates and treating her to things and whatever, and none of it is sexualized. And a big part of that,
she's in control.
yeah, she's in control of the entire thing, and she's the driving force behind all of it. And he's also a very, this comes across a lot in like dom relationships where they're always like, use your words,
Right.
and it's like no one is here is playing any guessing games. Like, you have to tell me what you are into and what you are willing to do. But once she gets to that point where she's like, can we just do that already? And he's like, oh yes, absolutely. But like he was giving her all the control because like their relationship started in like kind of a sexual manner. Realistically, like she's masturbating him.
Yeah.
And so that's like a sexual kind of setting. And that was another thing that I was like, that's kind of weird that, but he was also the only one that she ever responded to in that regard. So like the rest of these humans or the rest of these Minotaurs rather, were just like, this is just a job or whatever. But for some reason there was something about him specifically that like got her hot and bothered.
Right.
Anytime she touched his cock.
The author did a really good job of like segregating those two sections of their relationship, which I think is the only reason that it didn't completely turn me off. Like, I really appreciated the fact that Rourke was written in such a way that he took his time with, and like you said, like allowed things to develop organically, and it didn't turn it into a big fuck fest. And if anything, she was the one that kind of was like, when she went without the underwear.
Would you fuck me already? Like,
Yeah.
she's kind of like almost gets fed up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Galus is like, just don't wear underwear. And so she does not wear underwear. And he
Notice picks up on it.
We
D-
love
he-
the very like consent, like
Yes.
do you want the tea, like,
But also very sex positive too, which I
Yes.
appreciate. Yeah.
Yeah.
but also sometimes just hurry up, right?
But also fuck me already.
yeah,
Yeah, because I mean that's like where their relationship kind of started, so he didn't want to like go down that road. Makes a lot of sense. I like that that's how the author took it.
good guy seems
Yeah.
like.
He's a very good guy.
I see. Yes.
Are we there? Are we there? We're at the point?
No.
Damn it. Where is it?
Where is it?
It's fine. We'll get there.
Okay. I had mixed feelings about him because at some points I was like, yes, okay. But then there are other points where I was like,
He's very bossy.
yeah, and is he like taking advantage in some respects? Like, he's not, but I'm like, there was just a vibe there that I was like, I don't know if I like him. Like, I went back and forth between being like, okay, I really like this, and then I was like,
You know, it's very interesting because he reminds me of not maybe someone I know in real life is not the real, like he reminds me of a type of character
yeah,
that
like an archetype.
I can pick out.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like he's very obvious. Like if I was to meet somebody, be like, "That's who you are."
But it's the same. It's the same as like we were talking about in the last episode with Neil. Like that's an archetype.
It's a
of
type
character.
of person, yeah. And Rorik's type of character is not off-putting for me, and I sure there's something in my brain that's broken because of that.
No, I don't think. No, I don't.
Do you know what I mean? Though, like if a man wants to be super masculine and boss me around, do
Okay.
it. That's fine.
Do you know what I think it was? Is that,
Unless don't do it.
I know, but fictitiously speaking,
Yeah.
but do you know what I think it was? Is that there was this like, it was almost like the jackknife between like how he was very like yes, no, you know, whatever, and then it was like not specifically on your knees, bitch, but like there was that like.
it's a domineering personality trait.
Yeah, and it wasn't something that I was prepared for based on the things that he was showing in his personality prior to. Like, I would have liked a little bit more context, maybe, to that and that's still not the part.
Did it seem like he was fake when he was being nice?
No.
Or
No.
one
No,
way
no,
or
no.
the other?
No, he's just he's very assertive.
Yes,
And it's almost, and I completely get what you're saying because I see that in people, but I'm not put off by it.
See, there was one point I think where she, not when she wanted to have sex, but there was one point when they were talking about something and he was just like no and like completely shut it down.
Yep.
And like there was no conversation about it, and I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm,
like I need constant open communication, and it was just like, and maybe it's that domineering aspect of the personality that I was like no, and that's still not the thing.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
still not the thing. You're gonna be like, what?
It's probably the dumbest thing. You're like,
It is the dumbest thing.
Probably like her favorite color is yellow, but her name is Violet.
That's exactly what it is.
hilarious. Nailed it. So they develop the relationship, and then we get into
They fuck.
Oh, they fuck a ton. And she is so fucking into it. I
Did he
love
know her coffee order when they went for coffee?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
He knows well, and he specifically is like that crazy sweet latte, whatever stuff she gets. Like he makes fun of it, of course.
Of course.
Which is ironic considering he eats his fucking dessert first.
He eats his desserts first, right? Because I mean, if you're gonna, you have to eat
I would
the best
like to
part first.
bookend my dinner with dessert. Is that a thing?
I mean, no one's stopping you from doing that.
Rachel would like to bookend her dinner with dessert too.
Yeah, I would.
A little bit of cock
That is a
here.
pretty fun way to say things.
Bookend.
Yeah.
I want to get bookended this weekend.
Right?
Merry Christmas, bookend me.
I think they call that the Eiffel Tower, Rachel.
Yeah, they do. The Eiffel Tower, aka
Fill all holes.
bookending. It's book talk. We're bookending now. It's not Eiffel Towering.
I finished my ounces.
Oh my God. How do you feel? You just drank 24 ounces of bull semen potentially.
I feel full.
You look full. you look very like
Violet feels
slosh.
full,
Do you have a
too.
slosh? Bit of a slosh.
Do you want to know what it is now?
No. Are we there yet?
Well, I mean, have they had sex?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah.
Okay, what is it?
Okay, so
Oh, does he have a weird little dimple in his penis or something?
no, I would have thought that
no,
was cute.
he has a ridge, like halfway down his cock.
like a
Okay.
horse penis. No,
Yeah, it's
okay.
like flat top head kind of thing, and then there's foreskin. It's a whole thing.
So
He,
when
he likes that she has little hands.
that's also creepy.
It's a little bit creepy.
Did he go wee when he came?
No.
No, he like
Go ahead.
bellows. But anyway,
Yeah, he does.
when they're having sex,
Uh-huh.
she refers to his semen as milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Interesting. Okay.
that
Like
fucking
milking him. Yeah.
No, his milk.
Yeah.
It's not milking him, it's his milk. It would
Yeah.
be different. It was like the act of, it is the substance itself,
Okay.
which leads into the whole fucking cum feeding thing.
Oh, okay. I see.
And it's
See, I hate when they say like his seed.
I would prefer his seed,
Pretty sure they say that in this too.
his splooge.
Don't say splooge.
No.
Milk. No. I was like, nope.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah, milk is gross.
I feel
but
like that's
it's
such a-
even like I feel like in this book it's just like a ha ha.
Yeah.
thing.
Honestly, I think it's the context in this one.
okay, and but this
That doesn't
comes-
make it okay, but
but this comes back to my like whole thing with it, right?
Your whole milk thing?
homogenized.
Probably.
Homo milk.
We're the only ones that call it that, right?
Oh, that's a Canadian thing. Yeah,
I think
homo milk's
it's
a Canadian
I think
thing.
It's a maritime.
Is it a maritime
maybe
thing? Okay.
Eastern
God only knows.
Canada.
I've never heard it before, but like
For-
elsewhere.
For
Atlantic, I mean, not Eastern.
for me, it's when we're going to separate work from play.
Oh yeah.
You're milking him.
Yeah.
It's his milk. If you're fucking him, it's not his milk. That
Yeah, I
No.
wondered if they actually called it milk, like
I mean, it's a milking farm.
at the job. Yeah.
They call it collection is what they call it. Or
Is it-
deposits or whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Is
Like
it firm like PHARM?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
pea fizzle.
Well, it's Fizzle Pharmaceutical.
It's pea fizzle.
Anyway.
But
Pea
yeah,
is silent.
I could not like. I honestly, God,
Interesting, okay.
I got to that point where she called it milk,
And you threw the book and you're gone.
and I was like,
See, that's the thing with the little thing for me.
Oh, you got hung up on it? Like the fetishization thing?
Yes,
Yeah.
where they're mixing the things, but they're not supposed to, according to the thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I can see
She
that because, and this is the thing too, because like
that milk is
it's
just gross.
the whole context of the whole thing. It's like you're reading like Minotaur erotica basically at the end of the day, almost like Minotaur romance. So it's like
How
I don't know.
weirded out are we allowed to be?
How
kind
weirded
of
are
thing?
you allowed to be? Which fair. I did this to you, so that's legit.
As weirded out as I fucking want to be.
Yeah, fair. It did, honestly, it didn't even register with me.
Yeah, for me, it was
Yeah.
like, I was like, nope.
Interesting. Okay.
And then I was like, I really hope we make Jacqueline read the part where she calls it milk.
Oh, I honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember. I flagged a part in here and I can't remember what it says.
It like, milk.
Oh, and then I drank 24 ounces of his milk. Like, does she say it like that?
No, it just.
She
is
does
milk.
reference the 24 ounces on occasion,
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Give me your
Because it's a
milk,
lot.
Rourke.
Well,
And
and
all I
then-
can see, and then I get into like the things that it's putting in my head, like curdled milk.
Ooh.
And like,
so how do you feel about the enzyme thing?
I thought that was clever.
Isn't that clever? So when
I
they,
thought that was clever.
So like when they have sex in the shower or something, right? Or
Yeah.
they do laundry is a good example too. Like the 24 ounces of jizz everywhere, right? So they
Oh,
have
right.
they have this enzymes like cleaning stuff that like
To
breaks
break
it down, so it like it'll go down a, you know.
Oh, like that protein cleaner for like, like
That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
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 There was a lot of things that the author put into this that I was like, that's clever. Like the little shoe things that he wears in his house.
Yeah, little silicone covers for his
Yeah,
hooves.
so he doesn't destroy things. The
He's
fact
like
that
the-
he,
oh my god, it's like furniture protector
It's
thing.
exactly what it is.
or the fact that like he is mindful that her place is small and he's going to rip her sheets up, so he does not fuck her there. Like there's little things that I'm like, you put thought into like this part
universe,
of it.
yeah. Yeah.
The world building of it, which is why I'm like super excited to read the heat clinic one.
Oh yeah, because the second one is Sweetberry. You said right?
Yeah,
And then
the
the
Mothman,
third one is.
Moonblood something clinic.
I didn't write that down. That's weird.
I
But
feel
yeah,
like
it's
it would be funny if he like destroyed her sheets like 3 times before he thought, I'm gonna buy her new sheets and then stop doing this.
I should probably stop destroying her sheets.
I mean, he does like she does, and this is the thing too is like she lives in the city, which is like a ways away from the suburb, and so when her lease is up, she wants to move out to the suburb, and so Gilly is looking for an apartment for her, and this whole thing is like kind of part of the conflict, I guess, would be the part like the crescendo of the book is that she's trying to get employment in her field.
And he wants her to get employment in the future.
Yeah, he's very like rah, do your best, let's get this done together sort of thing.
Right.
Like very supportive. And
Controlling.
yeah, you're not wrong. Again, it's like the
Tomato, potato.
he's a very dominant personality across the board, and again, not off-putting.
To Rachel.
To me, yeah. And
Borderline abusive to others.
Again, she's not saying she's broken. She's just implying that she's broken.
100% broken. That's why I go to therapy, Ash. He asks around because they're like, again, the monsters and stuff. Like they're all connected, especially in Cambric Creek. And one of the places he had taken her on one of the dates was like, there's
Founding house.
one of the founding houses, because there's like rival founding houses of Cambric Creek.
There's like a
And
whole story about the
there's
founding and all that stuff.
there's a lot of like lore about this town in general, and Rorik goes into a lot about the dynamics of Minotaurs specifically and where he grew up and all this stuff, and so like there's a lot of that kind of background stuff, like world building shit that's really cool.
The Hemmings is one of the families.
Yes, that's right.
Because there's a Hemming in the third book, the one that I want to read, Moon-Blooded Breeding Clinic.
Oh, fun. Sounds
is
great.
about a Hemming.
Breathe them harder, Daddy.
Probably.
And then the next book is Little Babies Everywhere.
No, the next book is 2 for Tea. Welcome to the Azale. I don't know. It's about a tea room, I assume.
T for 2 because she's preggers.
2 for Tea.
Don't you hate the word preggers? Blech. Okay, moving on.
This job comes up very quietly, and she would basically be perfect for it. It's like it's taking an historic home and converting it back to its original everything
Oh, wow.
as like a museum kind of piece.
Oh, it's far away, isn't it?
No,
No,
it's in Cambric
the
Creek,
town.
Oh, okay.
but it's one of the other founding houses, and so the fact that she went to this other founding house and was like doing the correlation to like point out that like, oh yeah, this other family actually already did this, and this is like took away from it, and so there's this like she really talks up this job, and of course she ends up getting it because
She rocks her interview is what Rachel's trying to get
yes, the happiest ever after of all times, and
at. And she stalked Rourke's ex on Instagram.
oh, I forgot about that.
As
bit.
you do.
As one does.
I know. It was very millennial.
Oh yeah, this is a very millennial book. Oh my god, across the board. Anyway, so she rocks the interview. She tells Gilly about it. Gilly ends up finding her apartment in the area, and she, happy ever after, ends up moving there.
And he's like, "How long's your lease? Because
Eventually you got to move in with me."
You're not gonna be living there for long.
And she's like, "It's 1 year and then month to month." He's like, "Good."
And she's also like picturing like what
which is not abusive at all.
Not really.
No, but she does picture what their offspring might look like.
Yeah, she like fantasizes hard about him. And so she ends up with this job, which is very flexible. So she ends up keeping her some hours at the milking farm for posterity.
Oh, is he jealous? What does he think about that?
No. I mean, again, like, it's funny because they touch on this because she mentions, like, do you want me to leave that job? He's like, heavens no. I would be an asshole if I did that. Okay. That's literally where we met. And this is the other thing too, Jack, is that, like, and Rorik points this out too, that, like, Minotaurs do this. I think the litmus was, if you meet a Minotaur who says they don't do this kind of thing, they're lying to you.
Okay.
Because it's incredibly lucrative. Like,
and they produce a fuck ton of it.
Well, and yeah, they have to, like, he goes twice a week sometimes.
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna have to pee twice.
Yeah, right.
Soon,
Well, he makes a comment, like, when they start actually seeing each other, about how he finds he needs to master debate more because he started seeing somebody and he's all like, meh. To the point that, like, he shows up and they're gonna go out on a date and he's like, and they know they're gonna be fucking later. Like, she has put her intent out there and he is like, yes. And he's like, actually, I have a date later and I think I'm going to cancel my appointment because I'm gonna save all of this
for her.
Oh my,
it's a thing.
Yeah.
When they're together, does she still milk him? Like, at the job, at her work?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So he keeps his appointment because, again, like,
Fridays.
Well, so Rorik cites this as being, like, literally double his income. So he has his his job. He's a CEO of some, like, manufacturer. No, sorry, it's like a farm equipment, like a John Deere situation.
Because his family were farmers.
Yeah, and so the money he makes from the milking farm doubles his income.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's incredibly lucrative, and this is why all the Minotaurs do it, because you'd be stupid not to.
Right.
It's like,
and again, they've commodified, like, the product in this case, and so they're like, well, humans have commodified it. Fucking pay me.
Well, yeah, they take advantage of it.
They do.
Yeah, you've opened the door here. Let's do this.
Exactly, and so, like, and he trusts this particular location because of the quality of it. And that's this. Am I missing anything? He takes his nose ring out at one point because, again, she's like, "Oh, you're divorced. You still have your nose ring in?" And he's like, because it's basically a wedding ring, and he's like, "Yes, I'm gonna get that taken out." And that was one of the steps of, like, she's like, "Oh, this guy wants to date me, like, for real." And so that was interesting, and that's really, like, I guess that's this. It's a short book. It's like 200 pages, maybe. Yeah, it's like 240 pages.
I love how Rachel's like, it's a short book. What was the book you wanted to read? And you're like, it's a short book. Oh, wait, it's like 400 pages.
It was
the Kraken one.
It's fine.
Where he removes his penis.
Did I miss anything else?
No, I think that's pretty concise.
Yeah, he likes it for I mentioned that, little hands. Oh, I hate that in this fictitious world, people still have medical bills. I hate that. Why did they put that in there?
Realism.
Because it's never going to go away.
In the U.S., garbage.
Oh.
Canada. It could be Canada. We don't got medical bills. You get some sometimes, but not like that. Not like gonna bankrupt you medical bills. Anyway, medical bills aside, Jacqueline, are you ready?
Right.
I got something for you to read, buddy.
She's totally ready. She drank her 24 fluid ounces.
How are those 24 fluid ounces sitting?
Just not gonna move. I should be fine.
We'll be fine.
As long as it's not too long.
So this is, like, again, it's like in the middle of some stuff that's going, some hanky and panky, as it were. So, like, let's dive in, Jack. Let's see what it says.
You're going to need to tell me what you want, Violet. What does this needy little cunt want from me? Gruff and commanding, just above her temple, turning her to jelly. Please, she whimpered, too aware of the other couple across the dining room and the servers slowly making their way around the restaurant, too aware of the way he was rubbing her clit from the top, from the sides, anywhere but where she needed. You need to use your words, sweetheart. Please what? The outline of his cock stood out in relief in his bespoke gray pants. Fat and full. Whoa, gross. and desperate to come out from the looks of it. She wanted to be filled by a squawk and have him stretch her beyond her limits and fuck her the way he'd fucked her in her dreams 100 times already. She wanted to feel the way 24 ounces would gush out of her, but that would have to wait. Right now she couldn't do anything, would never be able to leave this restaurant and see the sun again if she didn't come immediately. He was smiling, she realized. Smiling that smile. The one that she loved, and the sparkle in his eye was completely evil. He was a bit of a bastard, but she probably wouldn't have been so hot for him in the first place if he wasn't. Please make me come, but don't get us arrested, she added hurriedly, glancing guiltily around the room. The press of his digits had settled into a rhythm by then, cupping her entire mound in his palm, just beneath the jacquard table linens, and she panted when they began rubbing over her clit at last. Is this what you need? His voice was a low croon just above her head, but her eyes had glazed over by then. She was going to come very soon at this rate, orgasming in public, unable to control herself. Who knew what she'd do next in her frenzied state? I'm sorry, officer. I didn't mean to fillet this Minotaur in the middle of the dining room. But you see, he's been playing so fucking hard to get that I snapped. Channeling my inner Ashton there.
Dramatic.
I'll take care of this pretty little pussy anytime you want, sweetheart. Anytime she wants to be licked, I'll be here to lick it and make you come. Eating this pussy is going to be my new favorite meal. Anytime she wants to be stuffed with my fat bull cock, I'll be here to fuck you so good you won't be able to remember your own name. I'm going to spoil you rotten, Violet. I'm going to spoil this cunt every way I can. All you need to do is tell me what you need. She'd wondered once if he would say filthy things to her in his stern, always in control voice, but she'd never imagined hearing it this way, in a dark croon at her temple. One of his thick fingers pressed into her heat, and her legs shot out, kicking at nothing, and Violet understood why some of the Minotaurs at the farm shook as if they'd just been struck by lightning when they came. She wasn't sure what was short-circuiting her brain faster, the way he was rubbing her or the things he was saying, but when his finger withdrew, only to re-enter a breath later with a second, she knew she was finished. He fucked into her with a solid, steady pump of his wrist, stroking her inner walls and never letting up the pressure on her clit, and she was nearly embarrassed by how quickly she unspooled under his ministrations, her orgasm building in a tight coil of pressure. When she clenched around him, thighs quivering, he gave a low hum of approval, continuing his movement until her contractions slowed, the pleasurable pulsing of her peak fading away. She watched him through heavy-lidded eyes withdraw his hand and suck his fingers clean, as calm and collected as he ever was, just as the server reappeared to refill the water glasses. I'm just imagining, like, looking over across the restaurant and some woman's leg just, like, kicking out. Oh, my.
That girl's probably getting fucked.
Yeah, by a Minotaur, it looks like.
So that's, like, the first real sexual kind of encounter they have with each other, like, officially.
Okay.
It's, like, at a restaurant when they're eating because, again, she's like, "What? Can you just fuck me already? Like, what's going on?" And then he's like, I mean, you have to tell me what you want first. And she's like, okay.
Oh, Jacqueline's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I had
Consent's
a question.
important. Yeah, what's up?
It goes back a while, because her friend Gilly is a vampire.
Yes.
So, the vampire restaurant that also has the human food,
Mm-hmm.
do you think, like, two humans ever just go there?
Well, actually, they go there. So,
Yeah.
so Violet and Rorik do go there. He makes specifically makes a reservation at like 1 a.m. or something because it's open
Okay.
overnight. It's an obscene time of day. They end up fucking before they go for dinner, obviously.
Okay, that was another part where I was like, you're
Which
such
part?
a man. Like,
Where they
He's
fuck
such a
before dinner?
bastard, but that's why I love him.
no. So like
She even says.
the vampire restaurant is hard to get into, and so a spot opens up and they go, and he's really annoyed about the fact that it's at 1:00 in the morning. And I mean, granted, yeah, I'd be pissed off too, but like it's that moment where I was like, wow, this is every like shitty conversation I've ever had where I've wanted to do something and my partner doesn't want to do it, and all they fucking do is talk about how much they're pissed off about how they're gonna do this thing that they're doing for me. Like, shut the fuck up and don't do it then.
No, I hear you.
I think-
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, that I was like,
This is why I'm like, this is a very familiar
Yeah.
that's
'cause
feeling.
she's
This
yelling.
is the person.
yeah, it's because I'm yelling.
My earballs are ringing. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, totally. And I get that. And it's like, because again, he is a type of person, and
Minotaur.
sorry, he is a type of Minotaur. And like that archetype of human is someone you find in nature, like in real life.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and like that's such again, like it's such a like a distinct person. Like I could pick out humans I know that are like that.
I know, and I don't like it.
Yeah, totally fair, totally fair.
And it's like
It's not everyone's cup of tea, just like Minotaur porn.
that's
fair.
fair. That's fair too. There was one part that I did super enjoy though.
What's that?
When she was trying to deep throat him, and then he started gagging.
Oh my
He's
God,
like,
that was
no,
so
don't do that, don't do that.
That
don't do
was great. That was great. Okay, so
He's like, don't
yeah.
ever think you have to do that.
Because he gets like the gagging sets him off to gag, and so he's gonna like vomit if that happens. And
Like
so
she was gagged.
she gagged on him,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ooh, no, you gotta stop! Don't do that."
Oh man.
because she was looking up Minotaur porn to
Yeah.
like figure out how to like approach the
Which I
peen.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good for you.
I mean, I do enjoy some like.
No, but she's learning. Like again, she likes learning and getting good at the thing, and then
That's what I
Be
mean.
amazing, yeah.
I just read a. Oh my god, it's almost like a.
You gotta do more than just read about that thing.
you know
though.
she looked up porn.
Yeah, I just read a book. It was like a queer. My big fat Greek wedding is the only thing that I can fucking compare it to.
Okay.
But he like realizes that he's gay and he like wants to be good at it, and so he's like, before I have sex with this guy, because I've never had sex with a guy before, I need to look up gay porn, and I'm like,
I read a webcomic like that, dude.
right? I'm like, I love that. That's really cute. Like, I love that you're
oh.
invested.
We're gonna talk about actually a book coming up too. We're gonna talk about that. It's interesting. Not the next one, the one after that. So we come to the rating part of this, and we're obviously gonna rate this on 24 ounces. So 24 ounces of 24 fluid ounces. Sorry. So Jack, you drank 24 fluid ounces. How do you think that compares to the rating on this book? Like if you had a slosh, and then you had to think about the book. Where's the
How are you gonna feel when that spills out of you, gushes out of you?
even?
Maybe like
I had you read like the tame shit. You're welcome.
17 ounces.
Okay, that's reasonable. 17 and 24.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have any basis for that one? You want to talk about it?
No.
She likes feeling full.
Same.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah. That's
Okay,
all I
cool.
got.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Your honesty on that. So out of 24, I'm going to rate this book a 21.
Ooh.
And reasons being, I fucking love this book. I love it so much.
Do you?
I love
Do
it
you really?
so much. Oh my
You
God.
can always tell how much Rachel loves a book by how like vehemently she defends it.
Well, Nascosta, like her writing style, like I really like how she delved into this, and Violet specifically was a very, very like ignorant character in a lot of ways. Is that like she didn't know a lot about the monsters and what they did and all that stuff, but it never one time deterred her from learning anything about it. And especially like because there's a part I kind of glazed over about like her mom, and where she was like she researched how to have this or asked people how to have this conversation with her mother, even of like coming out about
Interspecies relationships.
yeah interspecies relationships, and the fact that she was dating a Minotaur and like a lot of that kind of stuff. And so the fact that Violet went after that knowledge and learned about all these things and like didn't really balk at it, I think was
Just put in like the effort
Yeah.
to learn to appreciate.
and she was like
things.
she integrated herself into that community even, as a human, which is a hard thing to do, but she was just so open-minded about all of it, and people
she
really
wasn't a bigot.
exactly, and like people just really like embraced that with her too, because
Did
again,
she make Minotaur friends?
yeah, so like the neighbor Lucille, who's an elf, and then her partner was an orc, L'Oreal, sorry, and then like the vampire she makes friends with. I don't think there's a lot of other minotaurs that she talks to. She comes across a couple of them like in the wild, like she goes to the farmer's market and shit like that,
like
but
like in Pokemon.
So
yeah,
does that
Asmon
mean
does.
he's not super like? Does he not have a lot of friends or not a lot of Minotaur friends?
He doesn't have a lot of minotaur friends, I don't think.
Okay,
But like,
I liked that it wasn't like the Minotaur community as a whole. Like it was you know, but it was just like in any kind of town or like city that you would live in.
yeah,
like,
multicultural.
you're just like, it's like a big melting pot and like everybody's friend, like not
Oh,
everybody's
and they
friends,
all
but,
have like different dynamics and
Yes.
stuff, and like there's just so much going on, and I love how Nascosta like created the entire universe.
it's
and,
a culture.
and
It's cultures.
totally,
Yeah.
and it feels really wholesome. That like, and there's people with like interspecies kids,
Milk.
and anyway,
yeah. Was it just like a love story?
yeah.
Okay, because I was like,
Are you new to Queens of Spice?
when I was, well, they're not always like. There's like battles and shit in a lot of them. So
There's a unicorn in the last one.
when I was trying to like rate it, I was kind of thinking like, what am I rating on? But I didn't really
It's a no. I mean, it's very short.
like. Nothing stood out as like anything crazy. It was just seemed like a normal
Yeah.
novel with like
Do you remember the first part where we talked about how she jerks people off?
yeah
That's the weird part.
right. But that just kind of like
Not people, Minotaurs. That's the
Minotaurs,
weird
sorry.
part.
yeah.
Minotaurs are people too.
I can't believe I'm saying this. We must have read way too many weird ass fucking books
I've
for
desensitized
this
you.
one to be a normal
But like,
one.
and so this is
Yes.
my
a normal love story. I called it, Ashley.
Yes.
And so, but this is
She
my take.
drinks 24 ounces of cum.
She doesn't just drink it; it gets deposited within her fucking
She's
vaginal cavity.
really into it. But this is my thing about this book when I read it, because one of the first things I said about this book was that it had no right to be this good.
You
Because
said that a lot of books.
I
that we
did,
read,
but
though.
specifically this one, because like it is kind of a lovely, wholesome story, but it's about fucking minotaurs.
I'm gonna move my rating up to 23 because this book fucking got me to just like think it was normal.
That's
Sorry
an
to
insane.
interrupt
That's an
you.
insane rating, but thank you. I appreciate that. 23 to 24. Mine's 21 and a 24. Ash, how bad did milk? How bad did it affect the
Ah.
score?
First of all,
Go on.
I hate milk. Second of all, I hate milk.
Okay.
Thirdly, I don't like it when you
I
compare
don't like milk.
bodily substances to things you actually fucking eat. I
What
don't
about
like
cream pies?
What about cream pies, Ashton?
it. No,
What about tacos?
no,
Beef curtains?
no. Where in a fucking book that we have read have you seen the fucking term beef curtains?
Well, now I need to find one.
Beans?
Oh yeah, beans. You fuck your
Magic beans?
ass. You eat it. It's a thing people do.
Yeah, you're a millennial.
She's a millennial. She doesn't feast on that Minotaur ass, but she might.
Doesn't being a millennial have anything to do with eating ass?
It's such a millennial thing. Gen Z and millennials eat ass. That's what they do.
Well, I'm clearly not a Gen Z or a millennial.
Oh, we're
then.
elder millennials.
Oh, what does that mean?
We're
We'll only
old.
lick ass? We won't eat it?
Nah, we stay clear of ass. No, thank you.
Why? Oh my
I
god. Now eating it sounds even worse when you say compared to licking it. Okay, moving on.
We came from the 2 girls, 1 cup generation.
Oh my god, stop talking!
We're not into that.
You spin me right round, baby, right round. What's your rating
Oh, like, I don't know, like 15?
for this normal love story? A 15.
12.
Wow. Just because she said that?
Call my bluff. Oh
Call
my
your
goodness.
I don't know, like a 15. I'll stick with 15.
I raised mine to 27 because that's actually how many ounces I have poured by mistake.
You 3 extra ounces?
Yeah, pretty sure.
You are doing the I gotta pee dance.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap this up. I am still playing Baldur's Gate. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all.
You're not.
Gustarian's my favorite. He's the best. Also, actually, just kidding. Minsk and Boo are my favorite characters of Baldur's Gate, obviously, because throwback. And those who know. Jack, are you reading anything
Those
else?
who don't know do not know.
That's okay.
Y'all. Just listening to lots of podcasts. Crime Weekly.
You listened to our podcast.
I did, yeah.
You listened to the unicorn one for your
episode.
birthday. How did you find that? What'd you think of it?
Well, it kind of makes me want tuxedo cake.
Oh, we have tuxedo cake.
Yes, we should eat some.
Yeah. It was funny, wasn't it?
The episode?
Yeah, I had a great time.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Ashton's dramatic reading stays
Yeah.
with me. I'll never forget that. It was amazing.
But
Jacqueline's trying real hard to get it back there.
But when she does the, oh, Daddy, like, pull my hair, Daddy.
Does the voice. Like, oh my
That
God.
It's like a little, but like then sometimes she does it and she sounds like all hot and stuff. But then she go, oh, Daddy, oh, my man. So I can't. Anyway.
Nice. Good rendition. That sounded exactly like Ashton.
Yeah.
What are you reading, Ash?
I read Big Nick Energy by Morgan Elizabeth, and it was the one that you were like, I don't know how I feel about that, because the main female character goes on a date with a guy, but it's the son of the guy that she ends up with. And they so I fucking lived through this book because A, she's a single mom, and B, she hated Elf on the Shelf. And the guy, so she gets invited.
Okay. You're a parent.
What?
Elf on the Shelf.
Fuck it. I hate it.
Jack?
I love it. Bucket Nuts did Elf on the Shelf for me one year.
So I didn't want one. My mom got me one. I will say we used it to get my son to start actually writing, because the elf would write him letters.
Oh, okay.
And he still does it. So
Interesting.
she gets invited to Thanksgiving dinner because he is also a single dad.
She's talking about the book again.
Yeah, not the
Yes.
elf.
Not the elf. So Nick is a single dad. He had his son when he was like 18, and the mom was like, I'm not gonna have him, and he's like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna raise him. And he did, and he worked on a farm and so on and so forth. And so the son goes on a date with this girl, and they become like friends, and the son secretly is like, my dad would really like you. And
That's you know what? I will say too, because there's something about like having a kid at 18. This is an observation in life.
Yeah.
That like you become friends with that kid more so than you
Yeah.
become a parent. And like when you have kids young.
yeah.
'Cause, like mom and I are best friends.
Like
So-
Gilmore Girls.
So
Yeah,
But, yeah.
Shay, the woman, gets invited to Thanksgiving because he just has this like kind of amalgamation of people. And so Nick thinks he's doing her a solid, is like talking about Christmas, and like brings up the elf. And she's like, fuck you, sir. Fuck you.
Fuck the elf and his tyranny.
Oh my God.
Will not stand.
And so like the one of the daughters wants a pony, the other one wants a kitty. He lives on a farm, so he's got ponies and kitties. Anyway, he drives in an hour every night, 2 hours, because hour in, hour back, and moves the elf around in her house. Like, listen, it's so fucking cliched. It's so like, really? As a single mom who hates the fucking elf, and like, don't get me wrong, there was like the things, there's obviously gonna be things wrong with it, but I was like,
It hit you in the heartstrings.
oh, I felt things so hard. And even like the weird little cliche, like, oh, really? That's where you went with this? I didn't even fucking care, because I was like,
Sometimes the cliches just work. Like
That's
there's-
why they're cliches.
Well, I mean, but like
but that's why they use them in,
Yeah.
writing, because
Yeah.
people get hooked on it. And it's like,
it's comfortable.
yeah, and it wasn't like,
no shame.
but it wasn't one of those ones where he like bulldozes her life. Like, he recognizes that he needs to allow her, like, spoiler alert, she's gonna lose her home because she's renting, and then the place gets bought out. There's a whole thing there, and it ends up her abusive ex buys it, blah 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 blah
Oh
blah blah.
God, I was
Yeah.
gonna say this is par for the course for society right now.
Yeah.
but minus the ex.
So Nick owns a farm, and he lives in like the main house on the farm, but he has the little house that he and Connor, like, he raised Connor in when he was working on the farm. So he recognizes that they've only been together for a short period of time, because it's like over Christmas, and paints the walls and gets things set up, and is like, here, you can live here. And that way, like, the kids can go to this new school, and it'll be good for them, and then they'll have this exposure, and like all of this stuff. And like the epilogue wasn't like, bam, she's preggers. It's like him sitting down and talking to the two girls, like his two daughters, and being like, I want to marry your mom. And I'm like,
Adorable.
oh my God, like my ovaries were like,
Explode.
yeah. So yeah, that's what I read.
That's kind of cute.
It's fucking adorable. I don't think you would have liked it. It wouldn't have had the same impact on you as it did on me,
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
But I lost my shit over it.
Nice.
Is that because you're a mom or because you have a heart?
It's because I was a single mom.
Okay.
I get the same vibe from Juniper Hill of the like single mom and
Oh,
the
hardcore.
family thing. Yeah, I love that like found family kind of stuff.
Anytime you have a single mom romance that like,
Like the guy steps up.
yes.
Like it's very wholesome and lovely.
yes. And I mean,
Because I know from your experience,
what do you mean?
it's fucking hard to be a single mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
yeah.
you deserve all of the love and respect for that.
It is, but it's also one of those things where you're like, you don't know any different. So like, and in my situation,
You're powering
I didn't
through
know
it.
any different.
Yeah.
In this book, this Big Nick Energy, which she says like she's half asleep. I think she might be sick, and she says like, haha, you give Big Nick. He's like, I'm pretty sure it's Big Dick Energy. But anyway,
That's funny.
she was in an abusive relationship and got out of it. So it's a different dynamic 100%, but like, yeah, it was just the things that she went through to try and get herself in a good place, the things that she did for her kids, and like even like the PTA stuff, or like the people giving her shit because, you know, oh yeah, just FYI, daddy daughter dances for like father figures only. Like there's a lot of like digs, and it's like, I don't know how realistic, like, do people actually do that? Maybe, because people tend to suck.
I think it depends on where it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did he take her daughter to?
No, I didn't go into that.
Oh,
I didn't go
okay.
that far. But he
Aw.
gave her the very beginning of the book. He's talking to his son on the phone when his son's going on this date, and he is going out to birth a foal. The mom's name is Mickey, so he names the foal Minnie. So he's got this baby foal on the farm, and one of her daughters wants a horse.
Of course.
So
A horse, of course.
he like creates the scenario, and he even says to her, I'm gonna gift Minnie to your daughter, and he's like, no, I am, because that horse
That's like gifting somebody a burden. Horses are a lot.
he's gonna take care of it, she's gonna ride it.
Okay.
I mean, it's like gifting somebody a penis.
Or a dog. Like that's a burden sometimes.
Gifting someone a penis.
Listen, if you gifted me a dog, we have been over this several times.
If you gifted me a dog, I'd be up shit creek. That's not good.
Yeah, but if you gifted me a dog, I would be like, oh my god, let me love it forever. It's like
Yeah, situational.
Yeah, I would
Anyway.
gift you a plant.
I don't want that either.
Well, I don't know. Fucking dildo then.
I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Glass though.
Bad dragon. So what was that? That was Big Nick. Big Nick Energy.
Nick Energy by Morgan Elizabeth.
Wonderful. Thanks for that, Ash.
Thanks for that, Rachel.
Next time we're back, you're gonna be so excited, Ashton. So excited.
We're gonna
so
read a
excited.
normal
So-
book.
We are reading a
We
book.
just read a normal book.
Yeah, we did. We're reading a book called Caught on Camera by Chelsea Curto.
What?
And Ashton's so amped for this one.
So
Sex tapes.
No.
So we'll talk about that next time, dudes. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for sticking in there, Ash.
I do.
I know
it all
milk is not your
can.
thing, but I appreciate you hanging in there.
It's only a 12 out of 24 for her.
I mean, that's 24 ounces,
15.
baby. All right, guys. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Queens of Spice podcast. You'll find us on Instagram and Twitter at Queens of Spice. Or if you want to send us an email, you can reach us at queensofspice@gmail.com.